always believed the worst thing a parent could face was losing their child. I was wrong. The worst thing isn't losing them. It's realizing that the little girl sitting at your dinner table, smiling at you with the same dimpled cheeks you kissed goodnight 1,000 times, isn't your daughter at all. It all started on a cold November evening. My 8-year-old daughter, Lily, had been staying at her grandparents' house for a week while I traveled for work. When I returned, I picked her up like always. She ran into my arms, wrapping her tiny arms around my neck, giggling, "Daddy, I missed you." My heart melted, as it always did, but that night something felt different. I couldn't explain it, but something in her eyes was off. They looked too dark, too knowing. I brushed it off as exhaustion from travel. The first sign came at dinner. Lily had always been a picky eater, hated carrots. But that night, when I set a plate in front of her, she ate every carrot without hesitation. I laughed nervously. "Since when do you like those?" She just stared at me for a long moment, her fork hovering in the air, then said quietly, "People change, Daddy." The way she said it sent a shiver crawling up my spine. The second sign came at night. I tucked her into bed, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "Good night, baby girl." But as I turned off the light, I heard her whisper back in a low, raspy voice that didn't sound like hers at all, "Good night, Daddy." I froze. The hairs on my neck stood up. It wasn't playful. It wasn't innocent. It was mocking. Over the next few days, the strange behavior worsened. She started drawing unsettling pictures, shadows, twisted faces, a figure standing at the foot of her bed. One night, I caught her standing in the hallway at 3 a.m., facing the wall, whispering to herself. When I gently shook her shoulder, she turned to me with wide, unblinking eyes and said, "I don't sleep anymore. She won't let me." I panicked. I called my parents. "Has Lily been acting strange with you?" I asked. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Finally, my mother whispered, "That's not Lily." My blood turned cold. She explained that while Lily had been staying with them, she had gone missing for 3 hours one evening. They searched the woods frantically, only to find her standing at the edge of the trees, smiling, unharmed. But my mother swore, when she came back, she wasn't the same. At first, I thought they were exaggerating, but the more I looked at her, the more I noticed. The way she sometimes stared at me without blinking. The way she asked strange questions. "Do you remember when I was born?" Or, "What would you do if I wasn't me anymore?" Then came the night that sealed my fear. I woke up to the sound of humming, a lullaby, the one my wife used to sing to Lily before she passed away years ago. My heart broke. I hadn't heard that song since the funeral. I stumbled to Lily's room, and there she was, sitting upright in bed, humming in my late wife's exact voice. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. When I whispered her name, she turned her head toward me, her face pale in the moonlight, and said with a smile, "Don't be sad, Daddy. I can be her too, if you want." My world shattered. I called a priest the next day, desperate for answers. He came, prayed over her, sprinkled holy water. She laughed. An 8-year-old girl shouldn't laugh like that, deep, guttural mocking. The priest's face turned pale. "This is not your child," he said firmly. "Something else has taken her place." I was torn apart. Do I fight for her? Do I risk losing her forever? I couldn't abandon her, even if she wasn't fully mine anymore. She was still Lily, or at least part of her was. The final confrontation came one stormy night. I heard her screaming in her room, begging for help. I rushed in, only to find her levitating above her bed, thrashing violently as shadows twisted around her small body. Her voice screamed, "Daddy, it hurts. Please help me." But underneath that desperate cry was another voice, layered beneath hers, deep, ancient, cruel. "She's mine now." I fell to my knees, clutching her tiny hands, tears streaming down my face. "You are my daughter. I don't care what you are. I will never let you go." The room shook, the lights flickered, and for a moment I saw her eyes, the real Lily's eyes, staring back at me, filled with fear. I begged, I prayed, I shouted until my throat was raw. Then, as suddenly as it began, the shadows vanished. She collapsed into my arms, unconscious. When she woke up the next morning, she looked at me with her old, innocent smile and whispered, "Daddy." I held her tightly, terrified to let go. She seemed normal again, but deep down, I couldn't shake the fear. Was it really her? Or just a clever mask? To this day, I don't know the truth. Sometimes at night, I still hear the lullaby. Sometimes, when she hugs me, I swear her voice shifts, just for a second, into that low rasp. But I've made my choice. Even if she isn't fully my daughter anymore, I will protect her. Because the scariest truth I've learned is this: love doesn't end when things turn dark. Love means fighting the nightmare, even if you're never sure you'll win. And maybe, just maybe, that's what saves her.